Death Rally is a vehicular homicide extravaganza, brought to us in 1996 courtesy of Remedy before they forgot how to have fun, published by 3D Realms after they started expressing their suppressed craving for them.
Balls of steel.
What the f? Speaking of Remedy, hey, you dimwits using orbital sanders as wanking utensils, when will you fix the Steam release of Max Payne? Because it's a Max Payne to run! Or will I have to perform an entire archaeological operation in order to actually uncover my physical release that, thanks to the miracles of modern spyware, I am not even fucking guaranteed will run? Which, by the way, prevented me from using the physical copy of Cult Heretic Kingdoms in my previous review. Funnily enough, I even have an actual physical release of Darkest Dungeon. And its artbook contains an outrageous spelling error. See you in the next installment of Useless Trivia with Schwalbe. But anyway, the game premise. You are a random schmuck who takes his shitty Volkswagen in order to participate in a series of deadly races where the only thing that counts is that you arrive first at the finish line. How do you do it? Well, I think that is a you problem indeed. Fame and money await temptingly, but are you tough and ruthless enough to reach the top? Holy shit, this is war! Not just any war. It's a race war. Yes, the game isn't complex, there is no big calamity or anything of sorts. It's just pure, unadulterated, hedonistic, violent fun! After all, the game is at its heart an action game from the middle of the 90s, with an attitude, edge and overall air of not taking itself seriously to it. So, why not just get into the groove, shall we? Death Rally, at its core, is a 2D racing game, and as such, it is presented from a top-down perspective. During the race, the game almost always does an excellent job when it comes to clarity of particular objects on the screen. I cannot think of a single one time I had any issues telling a car from surrounding area. Like, look, this is a car, this is a wall. That used to be a dipshit thinking that spectating a high-speed race whose contestants freely use automatic weaponry is a good idea. This is a landmine. And this is your competitor who wanted to reenact that scene from 7 by shoving a massive metal spike up your arse. At first glance, the racing UI is mostly clear. After all, it's a very fast-paced game. Player is supposed to read the situation without much delay at all. The bigger visual issue is, I'd personally argue, shooting effects. Let me show you what I mean. Look at the muzzle flash of your car-mounted guns. They are mounted to the sides, which means that during early game you have to get used to aiming with a gun that is off-center of your vehicle, while doing high-speed maneuvers. Overall, there isn't much to talk about the visuals. Everything is quality. Every single fucking thing. The only things I do find problematic touch upon gameplay elements, or the fact that sometimes you go through tunnels. In a top-down game. How's the audio? Solid. The audio is very solid. The soundtrack rings nicely in the background, although I must point out I can't really recall any tunes now that I think of it. Which is weird, because I do remember that I specifically wanted to insert a cat jamming to it when I played. Ironic, I guess. No, what I recall more are the sound effects and something that ties with the frantic gameplay very nicely. Audio callouts.
Go for it! Look out!
They are crisp and not unpleasant to listen to. Although audio callouts are a bit crunched to hell and back. Then again, this game was released around the time when you had to resort to heavily cutting on quality due to size constraints. Either that or resorting to quirky tricks like in case of Quake 1 and 2. Now, these are on the list. We touched upon the gameplay mechanics. We should probably say something about them before the cops arrive and arrest us for sexual misconduct. First, let's focus on the meat, the races. For the most part, it's box standard deal. Go vroom, be the fastest to go vroom, and do your best to go vroom well enough to arrive first after all the laps. Don't get overlapped, and you'll be fine. And then the grace period ends. Yes, the main thing making this game interesting is the fact that nobody cares if you make your opponents into a glory hole buffet. Better still, if you manage to take out all of your opponents before the race ends, you get a bonus. Of course, this means that as a participant of a race, you are a target as well, and you'd better get good or get fucked. Each and every single available car comes equipped with either 1 or 2 guns. Though, obviously, the higher the tier of the car, the higher the damage output. These are your main weapons and you can only have so much ammo for them. No worries though, you can replenish the ammo partially during the race, although we'll talk about it later. Lead isn't your only armament against whatever fucking douchebag needs to be returned to driving school. Ramming is always an option, which can be made spicier. One of my favorite tools in the game, however, have to be mines. If your car is appropriately supplied, you have a limited number of mines to use that cannot be replenished mid-race. However, each mine takes 10% health out of any unarmored fool who drives onto one. It also knocks out their acceleration and velocity while violently knocking them back. This effect can be used to prevent opportunistic ramming or just to plain push back someone who tries to overtake your position. And besides, nobody stops you from using mines to help with overtaking by sliding in front of the prick and dropping one in his stupid fucking face. That said, if you miss, they will remain there, waiting patiently. And, well, they aren't too good recognizing friend from foe. This actually calls for a mention regarding game's AI. It's surprisingly competent. They know this is a ruthless pursuit and will play it dirty, not even batting an eye over your smoldering corpse. If you dare overtake the guy who spent most of the race in the first position, expect wall of hot lead tearing out your ass the moment they have a line of sight with you. Each race has 4 participants. If you are the highest ranking driver, you will start from the last 4th position and vice versa. At first, you might think, oh, that's fair, the weakest player has some sort of advantage, and then you remember what game you are playing. Although there isn't much to racing mechanics themselves, the entire system does have a surprising amount of depth. It's still not super deep, but hey, enough to be stimulating given the speed of its gameplay. You and other drivers can pick up bonuses. A spawning point for them are fixed, but what is being spawned is randomized. The bonuses range from replenishing some of the ammo, fixing your car by a minuscule amount, or seeing why sitting behind the wheel under influence is not the best fucking idea. The pickups don't last forever though and aren't guaranteed to spawn or be replaced at all. How do the cars drive? Well, okay, confessions first. I do not have a driving license. Frankly, the Ferrari is the title I used to point to when I was giving an explanation, akin the entire "Doom makes you shoot schools" argument as to why I didn't get one. Nowadays, I point out to Def Rally as to why I want to make one. The bottom line is, I don't have any kind of real-life familiarity with how this should work, so all I can say is that without upgrades your car is going to slide all over the place, as if the entire event was funded by Randy Pitchford.
I love a good joke.
Seriously, the first fucking thing you ought to buy no matter the car is the fucking tire upgrade, which is a mustful segue into after-race gameplay. Once the race is finished, no matter the outcome, you are first greeted by the summary of all 3 races that took place. After the summary, you are taken to a shop screen. In here you can repair or upgrade your ride, or just get a fresh one. That said, fresh also means it won't have any of the upgrades. Every ride has its own unique, easily recognizable silhouette and weaponry, mostly. Although the main differences between the guns on each car are the DPS and how many of them are actually mounted. In general, starting with Shrieker, all cars will sport double the guns, making them easier to aim but also doubling the already upgraded DPS compared to previous car tier. One final way cars differentiate from one another is how much you can upgrade them. Vagabond can be upgraded roughly once per category. The Liberator can be outfitted with all the upgrades. Importantly, health points, turbo, and ammo capacities are the same across each car, with caveats. Health points are common, yes, but even the first armor upgrade will roughly cut incoming damage by 10%, which can potentially save you a lot of money that you'd have to spend on repairs otherwise, for example. Actually, let's take a brief look at the available cars. Vagabond is the starting Volkswagen Beetle heap of scrap. Dervish, straight out of Middle East. Sentinel, which sadly doesn't blast defenders of faith. Shrieker, whose drivers will make you shit your pants in anything lower tier if you see them join. Raves, because if Lord of the Rings taught me anything, is that ring raves sit atop shrieking beasts. Deliberator, because if you race against one with anything beneath, you will start praying for deliverance. Or decide to go get shit-faced in Ujits instead.
Where the fuck am I?
Okay, that's it for the normal pit stop. Let's visit ever a shadier part of the free market. Here is the mecca of all who care not for the outdated concepts like honor, fair play, or good Samaritan virtues. This is where you get the good stuff.
You need your points, check. Sporks, check. Rocket fuel, check. Low talks, check. Sabotage, check.
Mines we've already kinda discussed. Spikes are a tough sell for me. Yes, they will roughly double the damage from ramming front of your car into someone else, but that doesn't cancel the damage you will sustain yourself. Rocket fuel is even weirder for me. Yes, it does provide your turbo with a massive kick. Thing is, that kick to performance is big enough for it to actually start tearing your ride apart. Sabotage! Now that is spicy.
Yeah, boy.
What this buys you is having the highest ranking opponent start the incoming race with random amount of damage already sustained. Of course, this also means that it's very likely going to be the guy with the best car around, so this also needs to be factored in. So, how do you beat the game? Would you believe that this game has an actual boss fight? Once you reach the top ranking, you are forced to race against the adversary, a mysterious champion, and let me tell you, he's quite a bastard. Once you beat him, congratulations, the game is won. But if you fail to have defeated him, pray to gods of vehicular murder someone overtook you in the ranking, because you will be pitted against the adversary over and over again until you overcome him, while not getting any money from your failures to do so. Good luck! In conclusion, would I recommend Death Rally? Yes, and surprisingly, Remedy actually seem to care more for their first game than they do for Max Payne. So for once, I can't even say that I'd be wasting your money if you were disappointing once you tried it out. And now my boner is gone. The game actually runs without a hitch, which is impressive considering how all the titles run nowadays, with runs being a very deliberate choice of word. So, buckle up, buckaroo, get behind your wheel, lock and load, and remember, it's not a war crime if it's entertainment. I think I'm not a lawyer. See you next time, when we will discuss the joys of
Crushing your enemies, see the limit before you, and hear the lamentation of the guilty man!
This video is late. Why? Well, life caught up with me. I was forced to cancel all of my creative plans and endeavors for 2 weeks. Needless to say, it's annoying. But there wasn't much I could do about it other than clench my cheeks and try unfucking the situation, which at this point would likely require me to go back in time and kill my parents. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this review, do feel free to share it with your friends. A special thanks to wonderful people who support my Patreon: Glenn Uno, Guiderino, JWK, Mewcio, and Łukasz Barański. Your support lets me continue with this entire operation. Thank you. See you in the next one. Hopefully sooner rather than later.